Ladies and gentlemen, good afternoon. The Deputy President, Dr. William Samoei Arap Ruto, was at CHETHAM House yesterday. The Deputy President delivered a speech and also responded to questions. And the Deputy President's speech at CHETHAM House is already eliciting a lot of reaction from Kenyans. And for me, two issues caught my attention. Number one, the first issue, which is going to form part of this discussion, is where the Deputy President basically threw President Uhuru Kenyatta under the bus. And the second issue is where he talked of parallel tallying centers. For now, let us concentrate on why I strongly believe that the Deputy President threw President Uhuru Kenyatta under the bus and the objective of doing that. Because in politics, nothing happens out of mere coincidence. The speech which the Deputy President delivered at CHETHAM was well prepared in advance because he knew the kind of audience and the attention it was going to attract. So there was this lady who identified herself as one of the Azimio officials from London. So this lady posed a question to the Deputy President. Listen into the question and how the Deputy President responded. I want you to pay very close attention to what the lady is asking the Deputy President and how the Deputy President responded.
Dr. Alex, my fellow Kenyans, first I say karibuni to our guests and jambo. So, Mr. Deputy President, I've got two questions. First of all, let me just say, my name is Rosemary and I'm the PR and Marketing Director for Azimio UK chapter. So I've got two questions for you. First, when you formed the government with His Excellency President Kenyatta, he treated you more like a principal. And in that case, you were given some of the most powerful dockets that, as any deputy president, we've never seen that sort of. So that was generosity from his part. But you also played because you also brought the number with you. So it was like this. So what I want to ask is, what are you going to do different, having seen the level of corruption and unprecedented corruption that engulfed our country to an extent whereby people can't even afford to buy milk, people can't even afford to buy even just oil, and yet we have people who are just rolling in lots of money. They can have a car from Monday to Sunday, and Kenyans are starving.
Second question, please, because we've got lots and lots of questions, please.
So I just ask you, what are you going to do different to Kenyans? Second question, should you not win the election, are you going to concede defeat and be an advocate for peace in our country? Because we know the story and we are all eyes open. We are watching.
Right.
Thank you very much. Yes, I have been deputy president for 9 years. I don't know which dockets were given to me because when President Uhuru Kenyatta formed government after the election, we've always had one president. We've never had two. And the responsibility over government has never been shared between Uhuru Kenyatta and myself. Our first term, we ran a coalition government, but I can tell you there was no single opportunity where my party held a PG outside President Uhuru's party. We had one parliamentary group, one government, one program, and it was all clear. There were no dockets that were given to me. I didn't appoint no minister anywhere. Everybody was appointed by the President of Kenya. Unfortunately, in our second term, because of the political dynamics that came into play. The president told me that he wanted to do things differently. And he didn't want what had become normal in Kenya, that this was Uhuru. He wanted a Uhuru. And I had a discussion, a candid discussion with him. And when he told me that's what he wanted, and he wanted to run this government because he wanted his legacy alone as the fourth president of the Republic of Kenya, I was not fussy about it, because he decided that whatever I did in the first term to coordinate the government programs, work on assignments that would consolidate our plan, he decided that he wanted somebody else to do it. And I didn't complain. So executive order number 1 came into force, establishing a different arrangement in government. And I had no quarrel with it, because that's how the president wanted to deliver on his second term.
Now, from that response by the deputy president, it is clear that the deputy president has thrown President Uhuru Kenyatta under the bus. He was asked a very specific question, that in 2017 and 2013, they formed a government, especially 2013, and the deputy president had half of the cabinet. He basically recommended the appointment of half of the cabinet. And the deputy president is denying that he never made any appointment. Let me read for you how this gentleman, one of the human rights activists in the country, Mwalimu Mutemi wa Kiama, who is one of the campaigners for Ruben Kigame. His response to the deputy president is saying that, summarizing mythomania, in Mombasa, Hustler leader takes credit for all development because he was at the table when they were planned. In Kiambu, now when the deputy president is in Mombasa, he takes credit. When he's in Kiambu, he blames the absence of development on his absence after the handshake. Then in Eldoret, this is the most interesting thing. In Eldoret, he takes credit for our sons in cabinet and executive. But while in London, he disowns the above. Now, that's the deputy president based on the speech he made at London. And Professor Makau Mutua, who is Raila Odinga's spokesperson, has also weighed in onto the matter. And this is what he's saying before we go on with our analysis. He's saying, Dr. William Ruto went to US and UK for the sole purpose of attacking, belittling, and discrediting head of state, his boss, Uhuru Kenyatta, and his government. This is an extraordinary development in Kenya's succession politics. It's never been done anywhere in the world. Now, the question I'm asking myself, why would the deputy president disown President Uhuru Kenyatta live at Chatham House? In my view, the deputy president wanted to achieve these 5 objectives. And by the way, if you're watching this channel for the first time, please just take a second or 2 and click the subscribe button so that next time you produce a video like this, YouTube will automatically notify you. I also know that there are several other people who have not yet subscribed but are getting the notification. The best thing you can do is just click subscribe button now, because soon those notifications will stop coming to you. Now, what was William Ruto's objective? And by the way, the best way you can support this channel, because I know most of you guys support this channel, is just by giving the video thumbs up, sharing the video, and dropping your comments. Why do you think the deputy president disowned the president, especially on the part of forming half the cabinet? Number 1, in my view, is that the deputy president was trying to duck questions about tribal appointment to cabinet. there's always been this narrative that when the deputy president was given his half of the cabinet, of course, let us not lie to ourselves. This cabinet, the 2013 cabinet, William Ruto had half of the cabinet. Uhuru had half of the cabinet. So Kenyans have always believed that when Ruto was given his half of the cabinet, he appointed his tribesmen and women to key government positions. And basically that is the question which the deputy president didn't want to answer. That's where the lady was headed to. For example, he appointed Charles Keter, who came in through a by-election. And the question is, how did Charles Keter come in? Charles Keter came in to handle that docket because Davis Chirchir, who was appointed initially as the cabinet secretary for energy, had been kicked out. So in William Ruto's mind, there was no any other Kenyan from any other part of the country who would fill or who could fill that docket. He had to ask one of his trusted allies, because remember, Davis Chirchir is a close ally of the DP. Then he had to go for another close ally, the Kericho senator, who was then forced to resign from the Senate to take up the job. So he was trying to avoid the question of tribal appointment, because this tribal appointment has always come up. I want you to listen to this guy prosecuting how William Ruto made those tribal appointments and why he was avoiding them.
Tusikize Ruto sasa, tuone kama naye aliweka Waislamu na Wakristo pamoja. Haya, Ruto sasa, Henry Kerotich Mkristo Mkalenjin, Davis Churchill Mkristo Mkalenjin, Phyllis Shapkosgei Mkristo Mkalenjin, Felix Kosgei Mkristo Mkalenjin. Haya, Farida Karoni Mkristo Mkalenjin, Chelsea Kateri Mkristo Mkalenjin, Simon Chelugui Mkristo Mkalenjin, Willie Betty Mkristo Mkalenjin. Nauliza, huyu Yesu alishuka Rift Valley peke yake? Malindi ya Yesu hayuko? Eastern Yesu hayuko?
The second objective why he was running away from that question, or from President Uhuru Kenyatta, is because the deputy president is keen on dissociating himself with Jubilee failures. Everything going on well in this government, the deputy president is always ready to appreciate. But anything going wrong, the deputy president is not ready to take. For example, just like Mwalimu Mutemi was saying, when the deputy president is in the coastal region, he will always point out how they did this. Remember, I was like the other day, while in the US, he was saying how in their first term of government, they were able to roll out SGR. You see, when he's in Mombasa and SGR is an emotive issue down there, he's normally blaming someone else for the SGR, not himself. So the deputy president does not want to be associated with Jubilee government, especially when it comes to pointing out of failures. But when it comes out to success, he would always try to point out how they've built how many numbers of roads, how they've made electricity available due to how many homes. So basically, that was what he wanted to achieve. Number 3, in my view, the deputy president is keen on blaming the handshake for anything he believes is a failure. If there's anything wrong with the government, the easiest target for the DP is the handshake. The truth of the matter is that we were alive in this country when NASA as a coalition started pointing out Jubilee failures. They started pointing out how Jubilee was borrowing and the effect will be felt in future. They started pointing out how corruption was rampant. They started pointing out how these guys were borrowing and the projects were not being done. The person who used to defend was none other than the deputy president. But the deputy president has now an opportunity to blame the handshake for anything which is wrong in this government. Let me ask you people, if William Ruto is denying any role in anything in this government while he was actually elected and sworn in, why should Raila Odinga take the blame? When Raila Odinga was never sworn in, he swore himself as a people's president, he never held any office. If you go to Capitol Hill, that has been his office even before 2013. You know, if you look at the people guarding Raila Odinga, most of them are his own people. When the deputy president, from where he sleeps, taxpayers, from where whatever he eats, taxpayers, then who should take responsibility? Should those blames be transferred to Raila, or should William Ruto just man up and take them over? So the other objective, number 4, is that the deputy president wants to appear as the Mr. Clean. That every other person is wrong, every other person is dirty. The only person who is clean is none other than the deputy president. And that's why he's trying so hard to dissociate from Jubilee failures. That's why he's trying so hard to evade any questions which will place him right at the center of Jubilee failures. And lastly, I think it was also his strategy of avoiding responding to that question, because how he was going to respond to that question was also going to affect him. People are going to put him to account. People are going to hold him to account. So the only way he could do is to say that we were in government. The only person who had the powers was none other than President Uhuru Kenyatta. That the only person who could fire was President Uhuru Kenyatta. Well, we know so well that, for example, the deputy president has been on record stating that the power to appoint, to transfer, was actually with the Public Service Commission, the president, and himself. He stated that severally. Thank you, guys, and please may you have a good day. Bye-bye.